To have a chance at permanent residence in Ontario, you cannot ignore OINP, and within OINP, you cannot ignore the International Student Stream. Now, in most cases right now, a score of 80 or above is usually required to make an impact under the International Student Stream to stay competitive. The Ontario Nominee Program's International Student Stream is one of the most popular OINP streams. In fact, for the non-express entry streams under OINP, I think the International Student Stream is the most sought after and something that most folks qualify for. Now, given the requirements of the International Student Stream, the low experience requirement, the entry to barrier in this stream in order to qualify for OINP International Student Stream is relatively low, and hence the competition is more, and hence the cutoff scores for the OINP International Student Streams is a lot higher than the other streams. In such a situation, how do you ensure you have the best chance to crack and receive an ITA under the International Student Stream? How do you make sure you're successful, and how do you ensure you can go through the stream? This is what we're going to talk about in this video. Make sure you watch the video till the end to understand how you can maximize your chances, maximize your score under the International Student Stream. Welcome back to the channel, guys. My name is Dhruv. I'm a regulated Canadian immigration consultant. At our firm Efficient, we assist all prospective immigrants with their immigration to Canada. If you are an aspirant, you need assistance, here is our contact information. Feel free to contact us and we would be happy to chat with you. If you'd like to chat with me or any other RCIC in our firm, feel free to book a meeting. The link to book a meeting is in the description of this video. To have a chance at permanent residence in Ontario, you cannot ignore OINP, and within OINP, you cannot ignore the International Student Stream. Before we go into the details of the International Student Stream here, let's quickly take a minute to answer the comment of the week. This comment comes on our how to apply for Canadian citizenship video. And the question is, do you need to be actively employed to apply for Canadian citizenship? I'm currently on EI and I'm planning on applying sometime later this year. Excellent question. Well, the answer and to your benefit is no, you don't need to be employed. You don't need to be doing anything. As long as you meet the physical presence requirement, as long as you're a permanent resident, and as long as all of that is clear, you can apply. You don't need a job offer. You don't need to be actively working. You don't have to be in workforce to apply for Canadian citizenship. I hope this helps. Now let's go back to the International Student Stream. Now guys, recapping what the International Student Stream is. Basically, if you graduated from an institute in Canada, the OINP International Student Stream has a list of those institutes. Then you have 2 years after you graduate to be eligible for the OINP International Student Stream. Now, along with this basic requirement of having graduated from an eligible institute in Canada within the last 2 years, you need to have a job offer in tier 0, 1, 2, or 3. If you meet both of these requirements, the second requirement being the job offer in tier 0, 1, 2, or 3 from an Ontario employer. Now guys, within this requirement, there are a bunch of other requirements with regards to the employer's size, how many Canadian citizens or permanent residents work for them, how much is their revenue depending on their location. We won't go into those nitty-gritty details, but assume that you have graduated in Canada and you have an Ontario job offer in a skilled job tier 0, 1, 2, 3, and your employer is meeting the requirement and they are ready to support you in any way. In that case, OINP International Student Stream becomes a good option for you, especially because you don't really need to do 1 year or 2 years of work experience. You can apply right after you have a job offer, after you've finished your studies. Now in this case, how can you maximize your score under OINP? Now here on the screen, you can see the OINP Employer Job Offer International Student Stream page. And on this page, you can find all the information, but we are going to mostly talk about the scoring factors. Like, so in this stream, you create an expression of interest, you are awarded points, and then based on the cutoffs, you will be invited. And in order to maximize your chance, the most important thing is to have a good score. Now, how can you ensure a good score? So guys, here are the scoring factors. So let's talk about what the score is comprised of so that we can see how you can get a good score. With regards to the first scoring factor, we have the tier category of your job. So if your tier category is tier 0 or 1, you get maximum points, and then the points degrade as we go further. Tier 4 and 5, 0 points, and anyways, this tier is not eligible for the international student stream. Then comes the broad occupational category. Now guys, you see that the broad occupation category of 0, 2 and 3 get 10 points. Occupational category 7 gets 7 points, and then it degrades from there. 5 and 6 getting the lowest amount of points. Now you may wonder, how do you determine the broad occupational category? Well guys, it's the first digit of the NOC code that defines the broad occupational category. So if you go and see, 0 is the legislative and senior management occupations, 2 is the natural and applied sciences. So if you are working in tech, you're working as an engineer, you will fall in here. And 3 is healthcare occupations. So obviously tech, healthcare, and senior and legislative management occupations being the top priority for OINP. And if you look at 5 and 6, which gives you the least amount of points, these are these occupations in sales and services. So if you would have seen, being a food supervisor, being a food manager is not the most reliable. Being a sales supervisor, sales manager is not the most reliable. Similarly, working in art, culture, recreation, and sport is not the best for OINP, and you really can lose up to 7 points. From 10 points, you can come down to 3 points if you're working in these areas. Then the third scoring factor is job offer, wage. And guys, this is the wage that you're being offered as a part of OINP job offer. Maybe you're making less than this, but if the job offer on the employer form that is filled after you receive the ITA is higher, you will receive points based on that. So $40 or higher gets you the maximum points, and anything below $20 gets you 0 points. 20 to 25 get 5 points. So most people lie in this range. However, for the folks who are in the higher ranges, especially 40 and above, you are very good candidates for the OINP International Student Stream, because you get a lot better points. And anyone below $20 working in food service industry, then that starts to add up to reduce your points, because now you're not getting as much points for broad occupational category and also not for the wage of the job offer. Then comes working with valid study permit. This is, guys, very standard. Essentially, if you have a valid work permit, then you will get 10 points. If you don't, then you'll get 0 points. Um, then comes the job tenure. If you've worked with the employer, you get 3 points. If not, you get 0 points. So if you've worked for 6 months or more with the employer, then you get 3 points. Earning history, if you have made 40,000 or more in the last 5 years, any of those years, if you have made 40,000 or more, you get 3 extra points. If not, you get 0 points. So guys, this is little points. If you have 6 months with the employer, if you have 40,000, you get 3 plus 3, which is 6 points right there and then, which is great, right? Then comes the education. Now this part over here, most of the folks fall in this either bachelor's or graduate diploma or certificate section, some in the undergrad, and then there's few that are masters or PhD, but majority is either bachelor's, graduate certificate, or undergrad. So 5 or 6 points is where most people hover at. But where the biggest change happens in the education section is the field of study. Now guys, you will see that the field of study, if it's STEM or health or trades in agriculture, natural resource, operation management, mechanics and repair, construction, precision production, you get 12 points for these fields of education. That is the education which made you eligible for this particular stream. So there is a qualifying education program that you completed, based on which you are applying, based on which you are eligible. The field of that program is what you use to calculate these points. And then if you're working in business, or if you studied business and administration, social, legal, education, behavioral science, etc., 6 points. And if you studied arts, humanities, social sciences, you get nothing, 0 points. If you have done one Canadian education, then you get 5 points. If you've done 1+1, you get 10 points. So those of you who have done 1+1, you also have a benefit here. So essentially, if you have studied STEM, you're working at a high wage in one of the tech fields, you are a very good candidate for OINP so far. Then comes the language. Now guys, higher the language, if you have CLB 9 or higher, you get 10 points. Then you get 6 points for CLB 8 and so on. CLB 6, you get 0 points. If you know only English, you get 5 points. If you know English and French, you need to be able to score CLB 6 in French and CLB 7 in English. In that case, if you want to count 2 official languages, you'll get 5 extra points for a total of 10 points for official languages. And guys, this is other place, regionalization. Now OINP wants to OINP wants to encourage folks who are outside of the GTA, outside of the Toronto area, who studied there and also who are working there. So if your job offer is in Northern Ontario being these communities over here, you will get 10 points if you are in Northern Ontario. However, if you are in other areas that are outside GTA, you get 8 points, and other areas outside GTA are also specified here in detail, which refer to all other areas that are not in Northern Ontario or not in the Toronto region. And then there is GTA, which include Durham, Halton, Peel, and York region. And then City of Toronto is the City of Toronto. So guys, there is a big advantage if you're outside of the GTA, because you get 8 points. And then if you're North Ontario, then you get 10 points. So this makes a big difference. And even if you studied in these areas, Northern Ontario, you get 10 points. If your college was in Northern Ontario, if you studied outside GTA, you get 8 points. And you get you're inside GTA, you get 3 points. And if you completed your studies without in-person classes, you get 0 points. So OINP wants to encourage folks who are outside of GTA, who are in North Ontario or in other areas outside of Toronto, to give them more points. And it's a way of OINP to encourage folks to settle outside, to distribute the population more widely across the province. So in order to increase or maximize your chance, or if you want to know if OINP International Student Stream is a good stream for you, well, simple pointers. First off, if you are outside GTA, that's a good start. If you studied outside GTA, that's a good start. So job being outside GTA, study being outside GTA. If you're working in tier 0 or 1, that is a great add-on. And if your broad occupation category is 0, 2 or 3, that by then, if you are meeting these 4, then it's already a good established premise that OINP International Student Stream would be good for you. On top, you understand what your salary is, what your language result is, and when you combine all of these factors, you would be able to get a good score. Now, in most cases right now, a score of 80 or above is usually required to make an impact under the international student stream to stay competitive. And again, guys, we've talked about this table. If your persona falls in one of these, wherein you studied, worked outside GTA, you have a high skilled job, you're working in tech, healthcare, you're studied in STEM or healthcare or trades, and you have very good English score, then you should definitely calculate your score and create an EOI under OINP. That's it for this video, guys. In summary, we've talked about the OINP International Student Stream, how to crack it, how to maximize your score, and how to figure out if you are the right candidate, if this is the right stream for you. If you like this video, guys, please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit that bell icon so you are notified about any new video that we upload. As always, if you need assistance, if you have questions, here is our contact information. Feel free to contact us and we'd be happy to help you. Thanks a lot for tuning in, guys, and I'll see you in the next video.